volunteers arrive in Jordan to begin preparations for upcoming winter distributions. Malaysian care recipient finally visits hospital after suffering fainting spells at home. I'm Sean Scanlan. This is DaAi Headlines. Tzu Chi has been working in Jordan for more than 20 years. This January, it became the first INGO in the Middle East. Taiwan Tzu Chi volunteers recently arrived to assist in large-scale winter distributions. They also arranged a one-day training session and worked with the Jordan Hashemite Charity Organization.
During the war, Retek Omar had a broken left leg since birth. After 6 failed surgeries, Jordan Tzu Chi decided to help her. Her life has changed as she is now 7 years old. It was her day for a return visit to the hospital. Tzu Chi volunteer Hannah accompanied her like she was her grandmother.
كشف لفوق والله بعد اثنين كمان ورجيني اجر الثاني في عندي ديفرنس باللينث ما حدا اطول من الثاني اتني ماما
take out, and then he wants to do another operation to make it level, to make it as a level. I'm worried about her.
While Hannah was dealing with her emotions, a stranger came to ask for financial support to pay their medical expenses. A young girl was lying on a bed who wasn't treated properly by her previous doctor.
Her legs were not normal when she was 8 months old. At that time, the doctor wanted her to wear her orthopedic aid. However, the situation didn't get better but worse and caused a shift in her bones.
The baby girl was nearly 1 year old. Seeing her sad face, volunteers felt sorry but chose to leave her.
We can't pay the money, it's them. It's not from our doctors because we don't know about this case. Everybody pays little.
Due to the unstable turmoil from neighboring countries, Jordan accommodates refugees from Syria, Pakistan, and some other countries. Therefore, people on the street might be someone in need of emergency support. How to be both empathetic and make decisions wisely. Maybe we could find a solution here.
Jordan's capital of Amman consists of 7 mountains. The palace is located in one of the mountains, and the Tzu Chi Charity Foundation Jordan branch is directly across from it.
Following the reporter up the stairs, the office of Tzu Chi Jordan branch shares the same floor with Jordan Hashemite Charity Organization. Together, they help refugees who come from different countries. On this day, they have a joint meeting. The Tzu Chi spirit and goals for international humanitarian aid was interpreted into Arabic and with English subtitles by Jordanian volunteers in a meeting.
The master always told us to inherit her spirit, but how? In fact, many volunteers have language barriers between Jordan and Taiwan. We are geographically far from each other, so we wish we could leave them some touching memory through this exchange meeting and let them understand clearly about the missions we are working on.
All our best wishes.
Although they work for different organizations, having different skin color and religion, they share the same spirit deep down under their skin.
I hope that both we make a smile and to make the patients and to make the poor people are happy.
You like to help people very much. I didn't see something like that before. So thank you very much. You gave us incredible feeling.
Turning their feelings into love, the spirit will continue to pass on in Jordan.
The autumn in Fujian Province is not as cold as years past, but Quanzhou Tzu Chi volunteers are still planning to help the seniors in the region during the winter months. Like usual, they begin with home visitations a month before the distribution to make sure the needs of residents are met.
As the autumn weather slowly changes into winter, Tzu Chi volunteers from Quanzhou, Qingyang, and Hui'an commence their winter home visits to check on care recipients. Xiqian village is located in Quanzhou's most northern mountain region. There are about 700 people registered in the village, But actually, there are less than 100 elderly living in the village.
The people who live here in the mountains don't make any money. Everyone went to the city to look for jobs. There are only a few old people left. Some live up in the mountains, some live in the valley. Residents are pretty scattered. The most concentrated is those in Xiqin, the first group here.
73-year-old Zhou Wei lives at the top of the mountain and keeps her home spotless. Volunteers not only praise her for her hard work, but also talk about the support they will be providing next month.
On December 22nd, we'll come here to give supplies to Grandma and Grandpa. You guys just remember to go get it. The items are not as important as the love we hope to provide for you and Grandpa. We're here to care for you.
Normally, there are only 2 elderly people at home. With the volunteers' visit on this day, they brought much laughter and joy. Meanwhile, another group of volunteers are visiting Dongtian Town's Tangjing village. Grandmother Wang received last year's winter support items, and the love and care has remained firmly in her heart.
The aid I received from Tzu Chi last year really helped a lot. My family of 7 received 35 kilograms of rice, which lasted us nearly a month. And the children didn't have to go hungry. There was also soap, which we used to wash the clothes. I still have some left.
Supplies are limited, but the encouragement given to the residents are infinite. You really have given them such encouragement. I'm so thankful, and the government is thankful for your presence as well.
The annual winter events held by Tzu Chi not only fulfills the seniors' material needs, but also their emotional needs as well.
In our next report, we will meet a Malaysian care recipient who had a tumor on her head. She fainted at her home several times before her mother took her to the hospital and discovered the seriousness of her illness. She underwent a surgery 3 years ago. Now, a team of volunteers invite therapists to help her, and she has made much progress. Here is our report.
She's a quiet person who does not talk much. After graduating from high school, she spent 1 to 2 years selling dictionaries. She wanted to learn to be a beautician. After getting her certificate, she fell ill.
哪一个是你？蓝色衣服是你啊？
是。In fact, she fainted at home twice. She had serious headaches. She got up after fainting. Once I was waiting for her to get off work, and I suddenly saw many people gathered around a person. I walked over there and found my daughter Amy has fainted. Then I took her to the doctor immediately. They discovered a tumor which is about the size of a tennis ball on her head. She had to undergo a surgery right away within 10 days. She stayed in the ICU for more than 3 months. When she came home, there were tubes connected to her body. She could not move or talk. My friend who lives nearby told me he has a friend who volunteers with Tzu Chi.
To my understanding, Amy underwent a surgery 3 years ago. Currently, the most important thing is for her to gradually improve her movements without her mother's strenuous support. In the beginning, physical therapist is very important. Therefore, we will invite physical therapists and language therapists to come see her.
We tested her and asked her to recognize some pictures. We asked her to point out the pictures we were referring to. However, she was confused about the complicated ones because she cannot comprehend it.
对吗？对吗？和这边一样吗？这边是几点？
从开始的行动完全
In the beginning, she was confined to the bed. Currently, she has more strength and she can sit up with her family's assistance. She is learning to talk again to communicate with other people, so we need to spend time to help her.
所以这个个案呢是需要花长时间的去
Caring for her has become easier than before. When getting into the car, she can turn her body. She stands up by herself and turn. I feel at ease now. I need to give her more support. We need to continue to train her, and then it will become easier.
In Shandong, China, Tzu Chi care recipient Mr. Wang has a hoarding habit. His 2 children are mentally challenged and therefore the house is dirty and messy. Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to clean his home and his children.
It takes courage to walk into this house. There's dirt all over the place, including the sticky floor. Elderly Mr. Wang lives with his 2 children who are mentally challenged. His 43-year-old daughter lies on the bed that has been sullied by urine and feces.
There is urine and feces all over the bed. We clean her body with warm water. In addition, our Tzu Chi sisters has bought underwear for her because we couldn't find a pair of underwear in the house for her.
Mr. Wang's son has disposition towards acts of violence, and therefore the volunteers calm his anxious mind.
We quickly cut his hair and he looks good. He also smiled. After cutting his hair, we saw that he has long fingernails. After we trimmed the fingernails, he kept looking at his hands. I think that he has felt the comfort of cleaning one's body.
After the volunteers scrub and clean the house, it has a brand new look.
Unafraid of the dirt and hard work, everyone worked with one mind and one heart. The house has a brand new look.
We brought some soybean drink and fruit. Most importantly, we brought some spiritual food for you. I heard that you enjoy reading. Is that true? This is our Tzu Chi monthly magazine. In it are stories of Tzu Chi's work in China. Every month, Tzu Chi volunteers go and care for people in need.
Sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. As mentally challenged patients, he will feel our love. During the process, I kept saying these words to encourage him and care for him. We will work together to help Mr. Wang.
Tzu Chi care recipient Li Shaoxun is a single father in Fuzhou, China. He cares for his 2 physically and mentally challenged sons and can't work a normal job. Tzu Chi volunteers visit him often and clean his house and give him hope to continue.
我们的所有的这个目的都是为了让他能够打开心扉，找他这个心念。
Tzu Chi volunteers walked into an old red brick house.
When you try to cover canvas on a sheet metal roof, it still leaks. So whenever it rains, the roof leaks.
The traditional wood-burning kitchen has dim lights. Li Shaoxun is a single father who single-handedly raised 2 children. His 18-year-old elder son is physically challenged, and his 7-year-old younger son is mentally challenged.
Since I have no job, I feel depressed sometimes.
In order to cheer him up, volunteers helped him clean his house. A volunteer endures her leg pain, saying that she could do things faster by using hand than her legs.
We couldn't turn our back when seeing our care recipients are struggling in their life, so we try our best to make some contributions, and by doing this, we feel very happy as well. No thanks as long as we finish cleaning. I feel rewarded, so I don't need breaks.
Even the bathroom smells very bad. Volunteers still want to clean up the mess for him.
We've been here many times, and it is not easy for him to manage the housework when he has 2 kids to take care of. We're here today mainly because we want to open his heart, show him a better living condition. We think this could also help change his negative mindset.
Meanwhile, some volunteers are leveling the abandoned farmland. They also let the care recipients to plant some vegetable seedlings. They look forward to a good harvest.
In Taiwan, there are 49,000 factories occupying over 14,000 hectares of farmland. In Changhua County alone, there are over 6,600 factories. To better manage these illegal farmland factories, 9 years ago, the Taiwan government revised certification requirements to help owners legalize their factories if they meet certain criteria.
This factory located on a farmland is looking to transform their property title from farming zone use to other building site. Thus, it must have the mandated 8 meters wide green barrier surrounding the factory from nearby paddy fields. The owner spent 2 years and more than 6 million NT dollars in renovation.
Originally, the walls of this 3-story factory came to here, but we removed it and created a green barrier. We also constructed a shade areas as well as planted some vegetation.
The metal dwelling factory now has a garden.
With environmental friendly equipment as well as the change in property title, I can apply for bank loans now.
For the low-polluting farm factories, if they pass the governmental requirements of having a green barrier and sufficient building coverage ratio, then they can receive an official permit to operate and land usage.
In the past, I'd be worried about the closure of my factory, if maybe today is the day I'm ordered to cease production. But now, since I'm legalized, I can come to work and just worry about how to make more money and run my business well.
As Mr. Chen now has a law-abiding factory, he's able to expand his business and purchase advanced equipment without worry.
I'm standing in this legalized farming factory, and as you can see, the equipment here are all automatic. And through this assembly line, parts and screws becomes the finished product in my hand.
In 2011, the government loosened the policy to give the low-polluting companies within the 168 zones of farming factories to legalize their factory sites. However, 9 years has passed since that law went into effect, and there have been only 10 factories which have been approved, making the approval rating less than 1.4%. For instance, this lathe factory, the owner is having a hard time restructuring his factory.
If I construct the government-mandated green barrier in the factory, then I will have to tear down the factory walls and move the machines inward, which makes our space even smaller.
Why must there be a government-mandated green barrier to separate the factory from the paddy fields? We're here to see for ourselves. Take this factory for instance. As it does not have a barrier surrounding the factory, we can see it casting a shadow on the paddy field next to it, and those crops will not receive enough sunlight to grow.
No matter if it's air quality, noise, or even smell, the barrier will provide a protection for the surrounding area against directly being affected.
By making room for this green barrier, factories need to remodel, which then affects their overall workspace. The over 600 factories on farmland situated in Zhanghua's Dingfanpo is the most affected by this policy.
We hope the government can come with a financially and environmentally win-win plan for us. as all the orders have been gone to other countries.
Before China and Southeast Asia's competitive edge for faucet heads, approximately 60% of the world's faucet heads were made in Digikey. It has been known as the pride of Taiwan, with the region bringing in 60 billion in production value annually.
I'm standing in Zhanghua's Digikey, where besides the many housing that doubles as factories, there are many farm fields such as this one to my left, which has been saturated by heavy metals that it has been forced by the government to lay fallow for 8 years.
In the past few years, with environmental concerns on the mind, these illegally built factories have lost favor with buyers. Thus, they must make changes.
These facade heads are not very traditional anymore. It's no longer just an item to facilitate water coming out, but it's now a customized art piece.
They're all faucet heads embedded with crystals, as well as ones that look like a dragon. To help the plumbing industry, the government began a campaign in 2016 to gather the factories in one place, as an easy way for the companies to leave their current illegal work sites.
The farmland factories are scattered all over the place, so it's hoped an industrial zone could be planned.
Every plumbing industry factory owner has a different opinion about the plans to rezone the farmland factories, with some of them not wanting to walk the fine line between legal and illegal anymore. Thus, they relocated to the Zhanghua Coastal Industrial Park altogether.
I'm standing in the second phase electroplating zone of the Zhanghua Coastal Industrial Park. On this 23.8 hectare land, there are about 110 electroplating factories here, with about 80% of them being originally from Zhanghua's local factories.
With a combined total of near 45 hectares of land of the first and second phase zones, the Zhanghua Coastal Industrial Park is home to about 160 electroplating or surface processing factories. Take this factory for instance. Although the land which it sits on isn't very large, the automated eco-friendly electroplating system helps to reduce the foul odor of the electroplating process, and the wastewater and waste byproduct toxicity is also greatly reduced.
The system we are using does not use cyanide or hexavalent chromium compound, as these are very toxic to the environment. Along the same lines, our system becomes much safer for the employees to operate.
Though it raised the production cost by threefold, the eco-friendly electroplating products are very well received on the international market.
For the Western market like Europe and the US, they want the materials to be also environmentally friendly.
Being inside the industrial park has another added benefit, which is that they will be able to attract more business, which makes those factories on farmlands harder to survive.
For those high-polluting factories in farmlands relocating to industrial parks, to those mid to low-polluting industries adhering to governmental policies or transforming their businesses, factories must consider environmental factors in order to stop the ugly cycle of polluting Taiwan's fertile land.
The Houston, Texas DaAi Kindergarten celebrated its 5th birthday, with students inviting parents to attend, and the celebration with teachers and volunteers. We will leave you with this. Goodbye.